Now, around 20% of us are neurodivergent. This includes autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD and other forms of neurodiversity.
That's right, and this week is Neurodiversity Celebration Week. As you can see, we're joined by Rugby World Cup winner and Olympian, no less, Heather Fisher. Heather, lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in again. It's always a pleasure to see you here on Sky Sports News.
Never sure, is it, so early in the morning? And I can't say that when you've been up since 4, right?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. The coffee is working.
Yeah.
We're all right.
About.
This is a really important area for so many people, but also for you personally as well. Can tell the viewers why?
I suppose if I'm totally being honest, when I came out of England and the system only really allows you and accommodates for certain people. And I really struggled to, obviously we know that I've struggled with my look and alopecia, but it always felt different. You know, if someone said, Fish, stand on a cone, I would, without thinking, get my own cone and stand and put it where I was. I would always think outside the box, and that was always seen a bit as quirky or weird, but actually it was always me just trying to be me, right? Since coming out of the system, it's like now, it's like I'm not really fitting into what we call as normal society. And I think I've been exposed to quite a lot, and people will say to my agent, how do you deal with Fish being so neurodiverse? And I'm like, am I? I'm like, actually, it's okay. It's my super strength, not, it shouldn't be a challenge. It should be an opportunity to reframe the situation and to celebrate people who are different. And yeah, with what I've learned coming out is that more women aren't being picked up as like men are. The stats speak a lot of volumes, whereas 50% of men, or up to 50% of men, are diagnosed with autism, up to 6% women. But that's not actually because we know it's autism or ADHD or on the neurodiverse spectrum. That's actually because they feel like they have to hide and can't come forward. So I feel like it's a bit of responsibility to shine a spotlight on women, on neurodiversity, on difference, and reframing it to say, look, you can be who you are, and we should be able to accommodate that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we understand, you're going through the diagnosis process of autism yourself. What led to that, and what's the process been like for you? Yeah,
it's not scary, but it's weird because it's taken me time to understand that I don't really fit in, and that's a bit, disruptive, I suppose. But it's come from my agent. It's come from people who I do a lot of speaking gigs and a lot of MCing and do a lot of work, and people always report back, Fish is so like outside the box. And I think it's like I'm trying to fit inside a box all the time and fit into a system, and I'm figuring out how hard I find it to concentrate, how the small conversations that should be easy, I'm having to really, really concentrate and stay present and be a certain way where that isn't really. I come across rude, like I'm not listening, but I am. I'm really, really almost over-trying. And it's almost like we're trying to go, Fish, we understand it's probably slightly different, but that's okay. Let's go through the diagnosis process. Currently looking for a partner or, a business to work with us or, someone to help that diagnosis with, because it's so important. Number one, that I feel like I need the support, especially coming out from an international career of 25 years and now stepping into a complete new world. I would just like that support so I can actually thrive. And it shouldn't be about surviving, it should be about thriving in a world that we can be whatever we want to be.
Your charitable programme, Fishbowl, specifically for young people with autism. What change are you trying to bring about? What's the goal here?
So Pete, that came about because I was standing, as you do, you're on a beach in a little bikini and you think, God, when I play for my country, what's it about? Because when you first retire, you're trying to work out how do I bring this platform to life in another world? And when you put your England shirt on, it's always about the purpose of everyone and everyone who's gone before you and everyone who's patched you back together to be able to play for your country. And I was standing on the beach thinking, I need something bigger than myself to carry on into my next life. And the rebirth almost was Fishbowl, which was creating a safe place under Coach Core, who I collaborate with, under an amazing guy called Gary Laybourne, who oversees the whole of the charity. And I to be able to collaborate with the charity already and create my own project, which is Fishbowl, where young people with autism and ADHD and on the neuro spectrum can thrive with apprenticeships, places of environment to work with and a full-time contract, and we mentor them through. I feel like that's what's missing, because actually now I've come into this world, it's potentially what I need. I can't just be placed in a system and go, hey, Fish, off you go. I probably need a bit more coaching, a bit more support. Hell of a lot of patience And because I know I've got something, but it's sometimes I get frustrated when I can't always get my words out and can't explain myself, but I feel it.
Yeah.
You know? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do understand. I do understand what you mean. The whole. I mean, I think we talk so much more now about neurodiversity and everything, don't we? And it's interesting because as you're speaking, I'm actually you think
probably
to yourself,
see my brain going 100 miles an hour.
I'm thinking I can associate with a lot of stuff you're saying, and I just wonder whether everyone can. Like you say, you talk of the spectrum, and everyone. We are all neurodiverse, aren't we?
Yeah, I think there's always a part of us that is, and I think we're scared to admit it. I think a bit like the Owen Farrell story and mental health, it's like, and you had a player coming out, an England player the weekend saying, I think I've got concussion symptoms. We're now not afraid to have those conversations about mental health and concussion. We should not be afraid of having a conversation saying, I think I'm slightly different, but then it's actually having the environment set up around you so you can thrive, and not just a tick box saying, well, if you don't tick these boxes, there's no going forward. It's like, I can tick those boxes, but I think I need a bit more support.
Because I was thinking when you were talking about, it's like the cone example, for example, and I thought, is it a case that you're actually more neuro-relaxed than maybe everyone else is kind of like not doing that because they're less comfortable and you're more comfortable that you're...
Yeah,
does that make sense?
It does, but I think that's come from my hair loss. I think that's come from I felt different,
right.
And that took me a long time to, working with that through the Olympics and losing my hair. And when you play for country, like any sports person we watch and we talk about, they have such creative heads and ideas and ways of playing. Like Leo Messi has come out, a few years ago, and he supports neurodiversity. Michael Owens, like Tourette's. There's different forms of it, and we add a different perspective and a creative perspective. And for me, it's about educating the governing bodies, the IOC, the Olympic Committee. Everyone should be on board on just making the space easier. But going back to your question, I'm probably more comfortable because I've had to own alopecia.
Yeah.
I don't want to be worried at 5 in the morning about what my hair looks like, Luckily, I can get ready in 5 minutes, which is, I think, quite a skill.
Whereas if someone had told you back then that there would be benefits to your condition later on in life, through your own mental strength and everything, it's...
Marginal gains, isn't it? It's always you have to worry about what yours looks like. I don't.
Very true.
That's true. I do stress about mine all the time. There's another grey come out here.
Grey's fashionable.
Yeah, silver fox.
Yeah, that's what telling everyone.
We have to talk about the Women's Six Nations, which is this weekend. Obviously, England going for a third straight Grand Slam.
Yep.
How big of an achievement would that be?
I should say it's big, but it's within their reach. So it's not going to be big. I think it's where they deserve to be. It's where they should be. Yeah. Their biggest rival will be France. I think we will now start to see the Six Nations really develop in the women's game because England have now been full-time, it's got to be 8 years, 9 years of really being full-time in a full-time system. And, the momentum going forward is really good. It's what we need in women's sport, right? However, the rest of the nations, Ireland, France and Scotland now, so Ireland, Wales and France, have not been full-time. So they're now starting to get results. Their more skills are becoming better, coaching staff, more facilities. So it's going to open up this year, and I think we're going to see some more contenders. It's going to be exciting, especially leading into the home World Cup for next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, will we get a few clues, do you think, to how the World Cup's going to go by watching the Six Nations?
Come on, like that. Like we show our cards, but we know how New Zealand play, but you still have to be able to stop it. And for me, you'll get to see combinations. We've got a lot of young talent. We've got a couple of wise heads. We've got Emily Scarrett back in the system after a neck operation. Yeah. Mo Hunt back in the system after missing out in the World Cup. You've got the likes of Ali Corden, younger players coming through, some great finishers. They've got a really exciting, creative team. They just need a fish in it. Nah,
they do. Every team needs a fish in it.
I'm not putting myself back in that mix.
Heather, it's class to see you, as always.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in. Good luck with everything you're doing at the moment.
Thank you.
And thanks for shining a light on what is a really important subject.
Hopefully, more women will start to step forward and we shine a spotlight on what can be, like a really exciting next chapter for women and guys. And we don't feel like we have to hide, and we can see it as an opportunity and not actually a challenge.
Yeah.